Welcome to Rugby Wrap-Up's MLR Weekly, featuring Tom Kindley, the general manager of the New England Free Jacks, John Fitzpatrick of Rugby Morning, Bryan Ray of America's Rugby News, and Pat Clifton of the College Rugby Show on the College Rugby Corner. Rugby Wrap-Up's MLR Weekly brought to you by Sheehy Auto Stores. It's easy at Sheehy. The Pig and Whistle, New York City, the world's best rugby pub. And Lean and Limber, stretching your way to a healthier lifestyle.
There is a massive responsibility on the 23 that are privileged enough to step out on that field today.
And let's get it all started with our recurring segment, Rugby Mornings Coffee Break with John Fitzpatrick, calling in from the greater Los Angeles area. And he doesn't look like an LA person right now. He looks agitated. He looks like an East Coast guy. John, you're twitching? You're crazy? What's going on?
Yeah, man, what the heck is going on right now? USA men's Eagles, they drop 85-0 to Scotland.
Yeah, but the ref, man, but go ahead.
Okay, sold out crowd at Soldier Field to see Ireland, New Zealand, but it didn't look fantastic on TV. Utah apparently is out of MLR 2026, but the season is still going to happen. Matt, what is there to be happy about right now?
Well, I would say that we're happy about the MLR going to exist in 2026. There'll be 6 teams. The red smoke came out of the conclave where the owners gathered earlier this week, and it was after the Utah news that stunned everybody. But they are 6 strong, as you will, as I'll say, and we'll be wearing T-shirts. And then there were 6 when the World Cup in 2031. We win it because of this turning point in Major League Rugby history.
Well, Matt, you keep saying the word 6. There's obviously a 6-7 joke in there for the younger crowd. But Matt, hear this: 6 nations apparently wants to host some matches here in the U.S. I mean, for real?
I think maybe by design, perhaps, the MLR wanted to get to 6 teams so they could have a more synergy with the 6 nations. 6 teams, 6 MLR, 6, all works out. The synergy, the marketing, it's so much easier. So, yeah, we saw the Rugby Championship played in Twickenham. Why can't we have that here? We just had Ireland and New Zealand. So why not have a 6 nations match? I'm all for it. Any rugby on American soil. Next.
Yeah, Matt, let's talk Rugby World Cup 2031. I guess it's still going to happen here. I mean, there's a list. You saw the graphic. 27 cities or states or regions or whatever raised their hand and said, hey, we want to host a match in the Rugby World Cup 2031. Matt, Birmingham, Alabama. There was New York, New Jersey. Those obviously are not cities. City of Arizona. I mean, yeah. Vancouver, Canadian side. You had the Los Angeles region. What do you make of all this?
I think that's, it's opening up a bidding, perhaps, which is exactly what you want. And maybe some of these towns that you laugh at right now say, okay, we'll buck up and we'll put on a show. We'll welcome you in. We'll have hospitality. And, we have smaller matches that have to be played, like, going to see Romania play Samoa or something like that, where some of these cities might make a lot of sense. Is there a hub nearby? Hotels? Is the stadium or the venue something that World Rugby would like? Because that's the issue in the United States. So I like the fact that we have 27 cities. So, more competition. Let's hope it's still here.
Well, Matt, Journalism 101 here. You're bearing the lead. It sounds like you've got some breaking news or something you want to share. I mean, what the hell? Come on, hit me with it.
You saw the Cheshire cat smile on my face, didn't you? I got the cat eating the canary. Okay. All right, I got a little something for you, okay? How about Sunday Night Rugby? MLR Sunday Night Rugby on ESPN. It's going to be on ESPN Plus, and it will be on ESPN2, but there will be a proper pregame, halftime, and postgame show, and ESPN will be helping with marketing. So this is a major break from what we've had previously for our games, especially on a Sunday night. And we're also, what I'm told, is trying to work that schedule so it's not insane, so you can expect when to watch your rugby matches and find them more readily. So good news on the production front. How about them apples? You like apples?
I like those apples. I'll take a bite out of that. Okay.
And John, on that note, we're out of time. So I want to thank Mr. John Fitzpatrick of Rugby Morning for calling in from the greater Los Angeles area. We'll be right back with the general manager of the New England Free Jacks, Tom Kindley, after this.
Digs like a demented mole there.
Need a great price on a new vehicle? Sheehy makes it easy. Easy Price shows you our lowest prices on the Mid-Atlantic's largest selection. Find your best price online or at any of our 31 dealerships.
It's easy at Sheehy. Sheehy.com.
If you're in New York City and want to watch some great rugby, have some great food, and some great times, go to the world's best rugby pub, the Pig and Whistle on West 36th Street.
Hey, before we come back from break, let's take a brief look at what transpired in Chicago at Soldier Field between New Zealand and Ireland, because we were there, and so were a lot of our friends. Have a look. Coach, thanks for coming. You guys are great. It's always a pleasure coming to these games. We don't have these. It's very exciting as an American rugby fan. Should we put a shot clock on the TMO?
Should we put a shot clock on the TMO?
Ladies and gentlemen, that is Jamie Wall here in from New Zealand.
Come on, Ireland! Just quickly, thanks for coming, by the way. It's great to have you guys playing on our turf. What's on your bucket list in the rugby world? Because you've accomplished basically everything.
Just to keep going. I know that I could be a long time retired. I still feel like I can contribute and add value to this team, particularly when I've got brothers playing. So I just enjoy every opportunity I get. There's three tests to go on this tour. Obviously the World Cup's there. Whether I make that or reach that, who knows? But at least I'm keeping that dream alive.
Hey, there's Jay Fishhook Rizzo. Jay, what do you have to say to the audience? Hi.
And we're back with the general manager of the three-peat New England Free Jacks, looking for their fourth title, Mr. Tom Kindley. Tom, welcome back to MLR Weekly.
Hey, Matt. Thanks for having me on. Always love being on, mate, and watch every week. So, yeah, looking forward to it.
Well, you might change your mind, Tom, if I by the first question, which is kind of like a going to the dentist question, but I have to ask. There was the thing about a tampering something or other with you and Mitch Wilson, I think it was, and the Anthem. Can you talk about that at all?
Yeah, no, I can, and I have to accept responsibility. And I had a conversation with a player of whom I know well, and actually I used to live with him once upon a time, around the prospect of him potentially making a return to the Free Jacks, which by the letter of the law was in breach of the tampering regulations. So, look, I respect the league's stance on trying to get really stringent around those sorts of offences, and I think we need a league that is stringent in how it operates. So, that was what happened.
All right, we got that out of the way. Let's talk about something else. We had some disturbing news earlier in the week. We're kind of getting used to it, but it can't make your job any easier because we had the Utah Warriors go down earlier in the week. But the owners had their weekly their meeting, their scheduled meeting with that news on their plate, and came out, and it looks like we're going forward with 6 teams right now. And you've got the general manager's hat on, so you're about players. How does that impact your day-to-day now?
Yeah, look, I think we're optimistically planning and excited to have a season with 6 teams in it, which will allow for a really streamlined schedule. So in terms of the Free Jacks, we're full steam ahead planning, and In fact, our team and team composition's nearly at completion. So yeah, like any person in my role across all the teams, we're going to be looking at those players that are displaced out of Utah, and we're going to be looking at our gaps in our rosters and looking to fill them where required with some really great players in that Utah mix. So yeah, we feel for Utah. They're a great organization, and they're one of the originals, aren't they? So it's really tough, and it's home for a lot of those athletes. So we at the moment, I guess that's all we can say is we feel for them, and we wish them and their athletes all the best as they move into the next steps.
And that great fan base too. It's just a shame, it really is. I'm still not used to it from when New York went down. It's like it leaves an aftertaste in your mouth. It's hard to explain, but unfortunately, we've got a lot of teams that know it. But fortunately, we're still up and running. And, the reason I really wanted you on today was because earlier in the week, I saw social media coming out from you talking about players that you couldn't re-sign, that you were asking people to hire or you were recommending. And to me, that was so unprecedented in the professional landscape, especially here in America. I don't know about back in New Zealand, but a GM of a professional team put it out there for players. I mean, I thought that was a humane, really cool thing to do. Have you had precedent with that?
Look, I think any athlete, any person that spent time in the Free Jacks environment here knows what it's like, and they know that there's a genuine level of care. Like, look, we've had Canadian athletes and American athletes go and spend time with NPC teams and actually play for those teams in contractor capacities and get all these experiences around the world that maybe they wouldn't have been able to get if not for our connections. So we're really proud of those things, and we're really proud of the experiences we've had and the memories that we continue to share together here within the walls of the Free Jacks environment. The fact of the matter is that the parameters that we have been given in assembling a team for next year are vastly different to 2025, whereby 28 of our players from last year would now classify as foreign players.
Wow.
under the new rules, and we might carry 9. So you can do the math. The math doesn't work, and we have an obligation to our ownership group, who are primarily American and invested in trying to make American rugby better ahead of the Rugby World Cup in 2031, to assemble the best possible team we can. So that has meant that there are players that we aren't going to be able to extend opportunities to moving forward into 2026. And some of those athletes have been with us for 3-4 years and done a tremendous job both on and off field. So it's more than just like a business relationship. They truly are a real part of this club, and they'll remain Free Jacks even if and when they aren't with us. So I felt that the least we can do is try to help them into other opportunities. And yes, we maybe could have, we are keeping some Canadian players on, even though they are foreign allocated players, but we can't keep all of them on. And I don't think it'd be doing right to them as well, if there's potential opportunities for them to get after. And if we can help them get to places like Europe or New Zealand, Australia, for a period of time and lead up to the World Cup for them as well. So mate, that's what we were trying to do. And yeah, I think being a Free Jack is standing up for the greater good, and that was something I really wanted to do and trying to help those guys.
No, it was remarkable. And, I know this is not in your job description or your purview, but are you surprised that we haven't seen any movement out of Rugby Canada, perhaps in tandem with World Rugby, to try to do like an Anthem type thing in Canada? Because you've got all these Canadian players that could easily form a team overnight.
I think they are trying behind the scenes, and like I know the playing group are working desperately hard. They always are to just like the American national team as well, to best prepare and give the best account of themselves possible. I think it requires a significant amount of money, and it does require a level of private ownership in addition to World Rugby funding, which is the challenge. But I'd love to think that maybe it happens not in 26, but 27. That said, we've seen teams come in on way shorter timelines than what we have between now and when MLR is scheduled to kick off in, say, February 2026. So Yeah, who knows?
Is this the most pressure that you've felt, or since you've been the GM of this team, do you think, because of all the parameters that are new that you have to work under?
It has been a massive challenge, I will say that, from, the conversations, which have been really tough, to the challenge of assembling a team where we may only have 40% of our team being retained from 25. It's been a massive challenge, but it's been a great challenge as probably the league needs a reset. And we're excited about that challenge here at the Free Jacks. So in terms of pressure, I think the pressure I feel is like we really want the league to live on. And, there's been so many great people like at New York and even Toronto and all these teams that are no longer with us, and all these people that have played a role in the league. There've been all these great experiences. It's a great competition, and we all want to see it go forward. So I think the only real pressure I feel is, wanting that desperately to continue, and whatever that may look like.
Well, Tom, there is that one goal that no team has had in professional sports on American soil, a four-peat. I don't think that in the NFL there's been one. I don't think in the NBA there's been one. It's been or the Yankees or the Celtics, anybody. You have a shot at 4 in a row.
I've probably laughed at that, to be honest, because I think, there's, bigger fish to fry at the moment. Obviously, that'll become a priority. Well, it is a priority to assemble the most competitive rugby team we can, and to win games, and to continue to engage with our fans and put on great game day festivals. What a cool challenge to be able to have the opportunity to go after. And I think if we can continue to have a great environment and great coaching, then we'll have a crack, and that's the main thing. I remember Scott Matthews said in our Proven docuseries that all we want to do as a club is always be there or thereabouts in that conversation. So that's always been the goal for me, is to be in that conversation. And mate, it's an honor to be able to have a crack at it.
All right, well, Tom Kindley, I wish you nothing but the best. I'm always rooting for you guys, because you do put on a great event. It's not just a game, it's an event up there, and the league is learning from you guys, I think. So Seattle and you guys do it well. On that note, we're out of time, though, so best of luck, Tom, and we'll see you next time.
Thanks, Matty, for all you do. I really appreciate it.
Likewise. We'll be right back with the College Rugby Corner with Pat Clifton of the College Rugby Show after this.
It is eating season. Halloween, Thanksgiving, Christmas, New Year's. At Health Enhanced Foods, we got 17 baking mixes to be able to help enhance your holiday meals. Whether you're gluten-free, you need ketogenic, whether you are low FODMAP, whatever your special dietary need is, we have a baking mix for you. Go to healthenhancedfoods.com. Go ahead and use coupon code RugbyOdds to be able to get 25% off your first order. Let's get the season going. And honestly, whatever Matt's about to say next, just ignore it. It's not even worth it.
And we're back with the College Rugby Corner with Pat Clifton from the College Rugby Show. Pat, welcome back to MLR Weekly.
There's one constant in American rugby, and it is collegiate rugby. Since like the 1880s, Matt. Just never stops. Keeps on rolling.
That's right, and that's what we need. We need something to keep on rolling on the rugby landscape here in America, and that's just what this is. So, Pat, tell us what we saw last week.
Well, there's a lot of it's conference playoff time in college rugby, and everybody's trying to get to those national championship playoffs. The NYRA side is already set, so they're kind of taking a couple off weeks before they hit their playoffs on November 15th. In National Collegiate Rugby World, we had huge conference playoffs. Notre Dame women 45-21 over Ohio State to finish off an undefeated Big Ten season as Big Ten champs. University of Virginia 65-12 over Florida, then 39-21 over Lander to win the South Atlantic Rugby Conference, also undefeated. Those look like two of the best teams in women's D1AA. Northeastern 96-0 over UConn to win the Rugby Northeast Championship. Another undefeated team, looks fantastic, conference champion. And Colorado 57-35 over Montana State to win the High Peaks. So those are your women's conference champions, all D1AA across the board, and some real contenders to national titles. On the men's side, Notre Dame 52-31 over Wisconsin in one Big Ten semifinal. Indiana 38-10 over Michigan in the other. In Big Rivers action, Marion 22-10 over Aquinas. Clay Peters' Skullet going absolutely viral over on the College Rugby Show channel right now. You need to check that. And then Thomas More 53-7 over Iowa Central, huge there in Chicago. And then in Atlantic Rugby Conference, moving on to last conference in D1, we had Queens 33-20 over Walsh. Penn State knocked off Bonnie, the St. Bonaventure Bonnies 45-38, and Belmont Abbey with a huge win 45-3 over Wheeling.
All right, Pat, that was last week. What's ahead of us?
Well, now on the men's side, we had a lot of Big Ten, a lot of conference semifinals, and now we have those championship matchups. So the in-state rivalry, Notre Dame versus Indiana for that Big Ten title. Marion versus Thomas More. It's a rematch from earlier this season that Thomas More won by just a couple of scores. And in the ARC, 5 of these 6 teams that are in this conference are going to make the NCR playoffs. So everything's for seeding. Bonnie's versus Queens for the conference title and the top seed going into the playoffs. Belmont for Walsh, seeding only. Both those teams are into the national playoffs. Wheeling Kutztown, whoever loses this game will be the lone ARC team to not make the national playoffs. So that's the game of the week, the 5th place matchup in the ARC. And then in men's D1 AA, huge conference championships, Kentucky versus Tennessee, Bowling Green versus Louisville, Babson versus Boston College. Babson getting a huge win at the death with a penalty over previously unbeaten Northeastern last week, and then Texas A&M in the Fighting Tui Osborns in the rematch against Sam Houston State and the Fighting Drake Tornos there in the Lone Star Conference Championship.
Pat, now you got to earn your keep for our partners, the Rugby Odds. Give us 2 picks.
So I'm going to take Notre Dame over Indiana in the Big Ten Championship. I think the Hoosiers are year after year, and they've earned it, the favorite in the Big Ten. But the Irish look good this year, and I think they're the best player in the country in Jack Waterhouse.
So he would be your number 1 pick if you were starting a team?
Yes, he would. I mean, there's a little bit of injury questions, but like a U18 Springbok is better than a senior level Zimbabwe national in most occasions. And I think
How dare you? How dare you, sir?
It is what it is. But I like Notre Dame to beat Indiana, and I like Marion to reverse their previous result earlier this season and beat Thomas More. I know I'm going to get an early morning call from John Fox for making that prediction, but it's worth it. I think Marion's coming good here, and I'm going to pick them. I picked them wrong a lot this season, but I'm rolling with black, right? You know, if you lose 6 in a row in roulette, you got to stay with it. I'm going to stay with the Marion Knights. Those are my 2 picks.
All right. Thanks again to Pat Clifton from the College Rugby Show on this week's College Rugby Corner. Thank you, Patrick.
You're welcome. Thanks for having me.
And we'll be right back with Mr. Bryan Ray of America's Rugby News with more on the MLR plus the Eagles and Team Canada after this. You need your cleats? You need them tomorrow? If you order today by 3 p.m. New York time or noon LA time, they can have them to you tomorrow. Young, old, male, female, if you're playing on turf, if you're playing on grass, if you're playing in the rain, you're playing in the heat, they've got you covered. RugbyNow.com. Go there now. This is the Rugby Odds, where an unlikely pundit panel of a wordsmith, a WWE legend, a rugby star, and a supermodel scour the globe, seeking best bets and bad behavior. Are you not entertained? And we're back. And again, we're back with Mr. Bryan Ray of America's Rugby News / Ray's Rugby. Brian, full disclosure, we had to reshoot this because we shot before the shoe dropped in Utah, and you had to change your hat. So that's why we had to reshoot this, so you could comment on Utah and having to change your hat. So what's your take on all this?
Yeah, very upsetting to change hats. Apologies to the Free Jacks, but I felt the sign of respect to Utah's efforts was required. I don't think the folding of Utah is perhaps a great shock considering the rumors that we've had for quite a while. I think just the biggest shock is just the collapse of MLR, really, from 11 teams to 6, and it's more than that. I mean, this changes the entire nature of the competition. I mean, you're going from 16 games and 3 rounds of playoffs, and essentially a fully professional competition now to what is effectively a semi-pro competition. Pay cuts across the board, a much shorter season, way less teams, way less opportunities for players. So it's just such a dramatic change from what we saw this year. It's just kind of hard to take in, really.
Well, I remain the ultimate eternal optimist. I think we're on a reset button, and then maybe we can get this thing to work. And if we can get through 2026, I think maybe we can get a 2027. That's what I'm looking at day by day. And again, we have a big deadline next week, and we're not out of the woods yet. But fingers are crossed. And as you might have seen in the first segment with John Fitzpatrick, we did have some good news. We got looks to be a deal with ESPN to do the Sunday Night Rugby, and yada yada yada. But Bryan, we don't have much time, so I wanted to get your opinions on USA Rugby's match against Scotland and your upcoming Team Canada's match versus Romania.
Well, not much to say really about Scotland. I mean, I guess USA Rugby said it all. Scotland had an awful lot of momentum in that game, and I didn't see any positives except for maybe Tavite Lepetti making a highlight reel. Aside from that, this was just a terrible, terrible performance from the team, and you can only hope that they improve against Georgia. They have to. There's no way to go down from there. So, let's hope they can salvage something from this tour. But I think USA Rugby has to very closely look at that program. And if changes are needed, they need to be done now in light of the World Cup coming up very shortly. They need to be a credible team at the very least in 2027, never mind 2031. So a lot of work to be done in that camp. I think Georgia wins that game. Probably 10 to 15 points and that kind of thing. Who knows? It's tough to say. Georgia hasn't been super flash this year either. As for Canada, I'm not expecting them to beat Romania with so many key players sitting out. It's just a very different selection from me, and quite different from the approach that Scott Lawrence is taking. Steve Meehan's taking a lot of young guys on this tour. He'll give some new caps to some players. So, I think that's the right thing to do at this time. And so I'm expecting some inexperience out there, some mistakes to be made, and a tough Romanian team at home to probably get the win by 7 to 10 points, kind of thing.
Bryan, before I let you go, getting back to the MLR, do you think the league can survive with 5 teams if that's what it comes down to? And do you have a contingency, maybe a Super Rugby Americas thing?
I think that might be the only contingency. I do not think it can survive. I'm very skeptical it can survive with 6. I mean, that's less than we had in year 1. So, I think SRA or Super Rugby America is maybe the only contingency that I can see. I don't see the URC or Super Rugby Americas as realistic at all, despite what some people on either side of the ocean want to talk about. I just don't see it as being financially feasible. So if it goes down to 5, I think they've got to have talks with Super Rugby Americas and talk about some kind of crossover. That's the only realistic thing that I can see at this time.
All right, Bryan, on that note, we're out of time. I want to thank Mr. Bryan Ray of America's Rugby News, Mr. John Fitzpatrick of Rugby Morning, Tom Kindley, the general manager of the New England Free Jacks, Pat Clifton of the College Rugby Show on the College Rugby Corner, and thank you. Make sure you check out the Rugby Odds. It's a good one. Hit that subscribe button on YouTube, sign up for our weekly newsletter if you can, and please join our American Red Cross blood donor team.